Scholars! I'm going to be helping you with your first grade skills lesson. My name is Miss James, and today we're working on lesson 20. Let's get started. Today's objectives are to identify letter-sound correspondences, decode CVC, CCVC, and CVCC words, identify features of a sentence, tricky words, common nouns, and the narrator of a story, answer questions about key details of a story, and read tricky words, said and says. Let's start off by looking at our consonant code book. Here we've got a letter combination. Do you remember what this says? This says ng. Say it with me, ng. It's spelled with NG, as in sing, sing. The power bar is pretty strong. That means it's common to see ng spelled with an NG. Over here we've got another example. The N by itself, as in pink. When you say pink, it sounds like in there instead of just an N. That power bar is much smaller. That means we won't see it as often, but it is good to know. Next, we have another combination. Do you remember what these two letters sound like? This says qu. Say it with me, qu. Q-U, as in quit, quit. Say it with me, quit. The power bar here goes all the way across. That means qu is always going to be spelled Q-U. Next, I want you to practice writing the ng, and Q-U. They gave us a word here that has the ng in it, song. And for Q-U, we have quit. Use your best handwriting to practice writing these letters. On the next page, they gave us some words and pictures to match. We've done this before, but let's read the words together. The first word we have is quilt. Quilt. Find the picture of the quilt and write the word below it. Next we have king. King. Find the picture of the king and write the word below it. Next we have swing. Swing. Find the picture of the swing and write the word below it. And last we have sing. Sing. I see a little girl singing. Write the word sing below her picture. Let's look at a couple new tricky words before we read our story today. Does anyone know what this tricky word is? You might think, if you sound it out, a-I-D. Not quite. This tricky word is said. The S says, the D says D, but the AI is the tricky part. That says like an E. Said. Say it with me. Said. Repeat the sentence after me. The teacher said to put our pencils down. Let's look at our other tricky word for today. This one is similar to the other word. Does anyone know what this one is? If you sound it out, it looks like a, y, z, a, y. Not quite. This word is says. The first S says, but the AY says eh, and the last S says z. The rest of the word tricks you. Say it with me, says. Says. Kind of like our other tricky word, the AI said eh. Here, the AY says eh. Repeat the sentence after me. Everybody says the food is good. Great work. Let's read a couple of phrases that say our tricky words. Oh, actually, these are sentences. They're all complete thoughts with periods. Repeat after me. Tam says yes. Nat said no. Who says that? I said that Tom can do it. Great work. Give yourselves a round of applause. Remember, the more tricky words that we know, the less words that can trick us. We've got another story from our Snapshots book. Does anyone remember what the name of the girl from yesterday's story was? That's right, her name was Beth. Today, we're going to hear a story about someone named Nat. The title of today's story is Nat. Before we read, I want to look at a couple of words that we're going to come across. The first word we'll come across is raft. A raft is something that floats on the water. The second word we're going to come across is UK. This is an abbreviation for United Kingdom. That includes the country of England, Northern Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. It's a place other than the US. We live in the US. The people in our story are in the UK, the United Kingdom. Let's get started on our story about Nat. Listen carefully to learn about Nat. This is Nat. Nat is a kid I met at camp. I have lots of snapshots of Nat. This is a snapshot of Nat with a fish. This is a snapshot of Nat on a raft. Nat and I had lots of fun at camp. But then Nat's mom got a job in the UK. Nat left and I felt sad. Let's go back to the first page of the story. How many sentences do you see on this page? I see 2 sentences, and I know that because there are 2 periods that make up the sentences. On the next page, we have some tricky words. Shout out the tricky words that you see on this page. I have, of, is, a. Did you find them all? If you did, give yourself a pat on the back. Great job! Why do you think the word gnat has a capital letter at the beginning? It's because Nat is this boy's name. Your name always has a capital or uppercase letter at the beginning, no matter if it's at the first part of the sentence or towards the end. You always capitalize that letter. On this next page, I want you to name a noun that names a person and a noun that names a thing. I'll read the sentence again. This is a snapshot of Nat on a raft. What's a noun that names a person on this page? Gnat is a noun that names a person. What is a noun that names a thing? Raft is a noun that names a thing here. On this last page, I want to look at this apostrophe. In the word gnat, there's an apostrophe. Apostrophe is kind of like a comma in the sky. The apostrophe means that the mom belongs to Nat. It's Nat's mom. I also see a comma. Do you remember that a comma means to take a breath? Here, I'll show you. Nat laughed, and I felt sad. You want to stop at the comma and take a little breath, and then keep going, not like the end of a sentence where you stop altogether. Let's look at the worksheet for this. We've got a couple questions to answer about Nat. The first question says, Beth and Nat met in the UK, at camp, or on a bus. They met at camp, so we want to fill in the circle that says at camp. Number 2, who got a lot of snapshots of Nat? Was it Beth, kids at camp, or Nat's mom? It was Beth who was taking the snapshots of Nat. That's right. We've got 2 more questions on the next page. Let's see. Beth got a snapshot of Nat with a mask on, a frog, or a fish. I remember a picture of Nat holding a fish. Do you remember that one? It was pretty cool. Last question. Who got a job in the UK? Was it Beth's mom, Nat's mom, or Nat's dad? Do you remember who got a job in the UK? It was Nat's mom. Great job! You all have worked very hard today, and this was a long lesson. I'll see you all next time.